So as you all know at this point, Crash Team Racing Nitro-Fueled is officially a Crash Nitro Kart remake as well. But did you all know that we're not just getting the original tracks, but there's going to be some major changes made to them beyond the design? Let's discuss right now. A quick shout out to NNN. This is their fan art of Metal Duckles. I'm loving this one. I love how tiny Metal Duckles look here. He looks so cute. And the drawing style is just really interesting. I really dig it. So thank you so much for this. If they have any links, now be sure to leave them in the description box below. I couldn't find any at the time of recording this. But again, thank you so much for this. I really appreciate it. Anyway, hello there beautiful human, my name is RidersDX and welcome to my channel where today we're talking a little bit more about Crash Team Racing Nitro-Fueled. So before y'all say anything, I do know that PAX East is going on right now, that we've got a lot of new gameplay footage that's coming out as we speak. I'm gonna wait a little bit before I make videos on what we're seeing at PAX East. I kind of just want to take a moment to digest everything that we're seeing there and then make some really interesting videos on it, because I think it's a lot more interesting for me to kind of just see where everything is and try to pick out some interesting things that you all might have not seen during like all this chaos, because it looks like this is how Crash Team Racing Nitro-Fueled is going in terms of like news. Like it basically dumps a whole bunch of news at the same time in like certain intervals rather than like reasonably releasing little by little by little the entire time. So it's chaotic and it's really cool and I really dig it, but it's a lot to take in. So I'm just gonna wait a little bit until I talk about what we actually see at PAX East. But rest assured, I'm seeing everything right now and I gotta say it looks pretty awesome. I'm really digging what we're seeing so far, so I can't wait to make videos on it once everything calms down and I can actually take in what we're seeing. But what I wanted to talk about in today's video is the confirmation of there being Nitro Kart content in this game and what they're specifically doing with the tracks in Crash Team Racing Nitro-Fueled, because it's not going to be an exact port to port as you might have guessed if you are a fan of Nitro Kart. So I've never played Crash Nitro Kart before, so I don't really know how the game plays. I mean, for all that I know, it could play exactly the same as Crash Team Racing, but from what I hear from other people, it doesn't play exactly the same. There's some key differences between it. If anyone can kind of let me know what those differences are in the comment section below, then I'd really appreciate it, just so I can get an understanding of it, just because I don't feel like I'm gonna have the time to play Crash Nitro Kart anytime soon. I'm actually starting to get into Crash Team Racing and it's gonna take me a while just because of everything else I have to do, but I'm gonna try to get through Crash Team Racing and finish it before the Nitro-Fueled version comes out, so I'm really looking forward to that. But yeah, apparently the Nitro Kart tracks play a little bit differently from Crash Team Racing, and if you just directly ported them to Crash Team Racing Nitro-Fueled, then it's not gonna be as playable as it was in Crash Nitro Kart. So apparently what it looks like Beenox is doing actually is making some very key changes to the Crash Nitro Kart tracks just to make them fit more in line with the Crash Team Racing gameplay mechanics. And so I found this article here where there's snippets of an interview with the director of Crash Team Racing Nitro-Fueled. I think his name is Thomas Wilson. Yes, creative director Thomas Wilson, that's the name. Here's a direct quote that Thomas says about the tracks in Crash Team Racing Nitro-Fueled that are from Nitro Kart. The biggest challenge was for Crash Nitro Kart. We readapted the length of some of the tracks. A typical lap for Crash Team Racing could be 30 to 40 seconds, and some of the tracks on Crash Nitro Kart were all the way to 6 minutes. We wanted to complement the original Crash Team Racing material by readapting the Crash Nitro Karts a little bit more. So this means cuts to some tracks and the removal of anti-gravity sections. Crash Nitro Kart had anti-grav racing long before Mario Kart 8. The size and width of each track were also adjusted. For Beenox, it was about making the Nitro Kart levels work within the confines of Crash Team Racing's mechanics. With the new additions, Crash Team Racing Nitro-Fueled offers a total of 31 tracks in a single package. Oh, that's interesting. So there were anti-gravity features to Crash Nitro Kart. That's really cool actually, so I'm actually a little bit disappointed that they're cutting that out. I feel like I don't know how the exact mechanic works, but it could have been like Mario Kart where the mechanics are just kind of embedded into the stage. But I don't know, maybe in Crash Nitro Kart there were actual gameplay mechanics with anti-gravity anti-gravity. Is that why they're cutting that out? Because they would have to like tie it into the actual gameplay rather than just the track? If so, then I understand why they're taking it out, but still, that does kind of suck because, you know, the anti-gravity stuff sounds pretty cool. But to be honest, we're getting so much with this game that it's really not necessary to add much more extra. I think it's really awesome that we're getting so much Nitro Kart content in this game alone, because as you all know, we're getting all 13 original tracks in Nitro Kart in Crash Team Racing Nitro-Fueled. I guess it makes sense why the game is called Crash Team Racing Nitro-Fueled. Get it? That wasn't even a joke. I don't know why I was trying to search for a laugh, but yeah, so that's basically it. And it's really awesome and very ambitious what Beenox is doing here, you know, getting so much content from these two games and putting them together to make one unified amazing racing experience. It's really great, especially given like how poor the market is for kart racers. It's really nice to kind of see Crash Team Racing inject some excitement into the kart racing genre, because this game just looks lit. It honestly looks lit. To top it all off, we're not just getting all the tracks, but we're also getting all the battle modes from Crash Nitro Kart. I'm not sure what the battle modes are specifically in Crash Nitro Kart compared to Crash Team Racing, but in an official Activision article, they stated that we were going to be getting those as well. So that's pretty awesome. You know, there's just so much different stuff here. And of course, I'm sure those modes will be retooled a little bit to fit in with the Crash Team Racing experience as well. How different were these two games anyway? Because, you know, I've seen like one gameplay video of Crash Nitro Kart. It didn't look like it played that differently from Crash Team Racing. So from what it sounds like, it seems like Crash Nitro Kart played very differently from Crash Team Racing. It seemed like it was slower paced from what I'm gathering, but I don't know. I don't know off the top of my head right now, but I'm sure I'll find out eventually, because I do plan to eventually play it, but I might be a little bit busy right now with Crash Team Racing coming out. I mean, I haven't even finished the Insane Trilogy yet, so that's gonna take a while. But what do y'all think about this? Do y'all like that they're gonna be retooling the Crash Nitro Kart tracks to fit in more the Crash Team Racing experience, or would you rather have just direct ports of Crash Nitro Kart tracks into this game, even with all the anti-gravity mechanics intact? I mean, I'm not sure what the general consensus is within the fan base. I'm not sure if people really like the fact that they're adapting those tracks to the Crash Team Racing gameplay, or if they'd rather have a more traditional experience and keep the Nitro Kart experience very similar. You know, I see pros and cons of it. I mean, pros, you're gonna get more tracks in Crash Team Racing Nitro-Fueled as a result, and these tracks will actually feel pretty brand new if they're gonna be readapting them to the Crash Team Racing formula, because then you'll be playing these tracks with the Crash Team Racing gameplay. So they might as well be new tracks, because you know, they're gonna play differently from how they did in Crash Nitro Kart. At the same time though, I understand that people may be fans of Crash Nitro Kart and might be a little bit disappointed that these tracks are not gonna have a similar experience, but you know, I always say, if you don't like how the franchise is changing something, then just go back to the original game, just play that. I mean, if you're looking for a more authentic and traditional experience, then just go back to the source, go back to what the original game was, and then you'll be perfectly happy, in my opinion. I don't know. I think this is a good thing in general, you know. I think it keeps the gameplay a little bit more consistent, and the Crash Team Racing mechanics, at least from what I've played so far of Crash Team Racing, are really great. So to see the tracks from Crash Nitro Kart adapted to this gameplay, I'm really excited about that, because there's a lot of strategy that I'm finding with like the gameplay in Crash Team Racing, and I think that's probably my favorite part of Crash Team Racing so far. It's just that like, it's not your typical kart racer where you can kind of just like breeze through it. You can really think strategically about what you're doing in terms of like boosting, finding shortcuts, etc, and really make it a very interesting experience. So yeah, I'm really excited for this, and I hope you all are too. Some other things that we got confirmed in the past couple days in terms of Nitro Kart content is that they're also having the original composers on board as advisors, I think, for the Crash Nitro Kart tracks. So Josh Mansell and Mark Muttersburg, I hope that's how you say his last name, and they're consulting on the soundtrack in terms of remastering it. So that's really cool. And also, just like apparently you can do in Spiral Reignited, you can switch between the original soundtrack and the remastered soundtrack in Crash Team Racing Nitro-Fueled. So that's really awesome, because I know there's a lot of people that will prefer to play the original soundtrack. So this is a really great option to give people in terms of being able to have as authentic of an experience as possible, or wanting to see the brand new revamped experience that Beenox is putting so much work and effort into. So yeah, this is really awesome. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'd be really interested in hearing what you think. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like it, subscribe to my channel if you like videos like these, want to see more in the future, follow me on Twitter at RidersDX, or join my Discord server, the Spongy Garden. Now this is Riders, riding out.